All right, Ann, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great, awesome. We'll start with Noah Gross.
Okay.
Hey, Ant, curious, you guys going back to a place where you just played a couple of weeks ago, the emotion of that, do you let yourself feel the sting of that loss in this same place where you're going to play again now?
Of course we're gonna kind of feel that a little bit, but we kind of want to move on and just get ready for Arizona State. I mean, they're a good football team, and we kind of don't want to just think about that game all over again. We want to move on and just get ready to go.
Eric Henry, go ahead.
Yes, you were muted, John. I just want to make sure. And you've heard the quote from PK at the beginning of the year where he talked about you want to grow as a linebacker, not just as a good football player. I just want to ask you, can you maybe think of one or two things that PK has taught you specifically about linebacking that maybe you didn't know or didn't conceptualize, in high school?
I kind of want to, of course, my coach Nancy, so I probably want to talk about him a
Sure,
little bit
sure.
more. Just developing, seeing stuff before the play, and kind of working on my footwork, just not crossing over, and kind of understanding the picture. Is it tight splits, and are they gonna run the over route, or are they the linemen on their heels? Are they pulling? Just little stuff like that, where you kind of don't think about in high school to just help me develop.
Harry Middleton, you're up.
Anthony, so there's certain people in life who transcend life itself. They love what they do so much
Yeah.
that they attract fans to them. You're one of those people. I'm just curious, where does that come from? Is that from your mom, your dad, your aunt? What, and why do you love this game so much? And to follow on to that, would you ever consider being mic'd up on the field for a game?
I'm gonna talk about the mic'd up. I don't want to be mic'd up. I don't think that's gonna be a good option for me. And just kind of with a love of football, just from came from my mom, my dad, and a little bit of my little brother. I mean, I've been a football fan my whole life. I've been watching the Seahawks. I grew up with Cam Chancellor, Bobby Wagner, them, and I'm a big gamer. So like Derek Johnson always tells me, how do I know all these people? Because I was on Ultimate Team when I was a little kid playing with Derek Johnson and Tom Ali and different guys. So I kind of just understand football at a different level, kind of from just playing video games and playing with my friends and watching football with my dad when I was a kid.
Thomas Jones, you're up.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Anthony.
Thank
Hey,
you. Same to you.
hey, Michael Taft said after the Clemson game that he learned some lessons from the success that Klubnik and the offense had.
hmm
What did you learn playing that Clemson offense that'll help you moving forward?
What I learned is kind of helped me just fine tune some things in zone coverage. I mean, it was a couple little busts, and we'll all say that we take accountability for those busts. It's kind of understanding that when the down gets longer, just plaster and zone drops and just different landmarks that you want to stay in during the longer and the down.
Jeff Jones, you're up.
And PK just told us how Collins' pass rush ability is elite. He won that
Yeah,
Freshman of the Year award
yeah,
recently. His ball get off, the first step or
oh yeah.
two is incredible. Is that just God given, or what does he do to make that so special?
That's just God given. I mean, I love like, of course, when I was a freshman last year. I kind of love just seeing freshmen making plays. I mean, next year hopefully a guy comes in and does what we did like the next couple years. But his get off and his understanding of football has kind of been different. Just he kind of been helping me a little bit. Just we in competition every week. Are you gonna get more sacks? Who gonna get more sacks? I mean, he got me right now, but hopefully next week I can come get him back. But I kind of just love playing with him, and we're kind of like each other. It's just kind of great playing with him, and it's been pretty fun.
Ryan Davis, go ahead.
Hey, Ant. I just wondered, what is your impression of the way AC and Vernon have played this season, holding the point of attack?
Yeah.
And what does it do for a defense when you guys have these goal line stands at A&M, the one against Clemson? What does that do for y'all mentally?
First off, I just kind of say with AC and Vern, I kind of love how they've been playing the whole year. I mean, they play fast and physical, and it just kind of helps the linebackers. When they're playing fast, we can play fast. The back end can play fast, so it's kind of all tied to a string. If we're all playing fast, then we can all play fast together. And them goal line stands kind of just test a point of how we practice and how we execute in the off season. I mean, some of these plays, I mean, we went out on the field before that after that punt, and we kind of said we're gonna get a stop. And the fact that we did it was amazing, and we just kind of love that we make those plays, and it just helps to boost the defense.
Hey, Anthony. Uh, Is there a how simple or how complicated is PK's style of defense? And is there a phrase he always uses that you go to sleep and you can hear his voice in your head?
Learning the plays when you first get here are kind of hard, but once you get here and months go by, years go by, it's kind of you kind of realize how simple it really is. I mean, he kind of breaks down. We do a good job of getting younger guys in meetings so they understand what's going on. So I feel like he does a great job of getting us going and putting the young guys in position to make plays. So we kind of like when we first got here, of course, they kind of had me at a smaller role. We kind of do that with some of the freshmen so they can kind of play fast and comprehend what's going on.
Joe Cook, go ahead.
Anthony, we just had PK on here, and he said in the offseason, y'all moved to that post defense, middle of the field close.
Yeah.
How does that help your position when you have, maybe either Drew or Taaffe dropping down and helping out?
It kind of helps us play faster. I mean, we kind of maybe run a little bit more cover three. It just helps us play faster, having an extra guy in the box. I mean, we feel like we've been stopping the run pretty well so far this year, and we got a big challenge this week. So we kind of understand that playing some of this cover three kind of helps with some of the posts and some of the curl routes that team's been attacking us with last year. So it's been pretty useful for us.
Chip Brown, go ahead.
Hey, Ant. Cam Scadaboo said he's the best running back in the country. 1,500 yards rushing,
Yeah.
1,000 after contact. He's a 500-yard receiver.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see from this guy on film, and what is he different from anything you've faced this year?
I've been watching the tape, and I mean, he deserved to say that. I mean, he put up 1,500. I've been watching the tape. He's running guys over, and he's catching balls out the backfield. So I feel like he deserved to say that. But at the end of the day, we have a challenge, and we're an elite defense. So I just can't wait to play against him and see who's really the best.
Corey Most, go ahead.
What's good, Ant? Merry Christmas.
Merry
Um,
Christmas. Same to you.
just wanted to ask you, talk about that challenge to follow up on that question. How much does it excite the defense, going into a game when you know they're going to try to run the ball on y'all and y'all's front seven loves when teams try to do that. And so how much is that exciting for y'all?
It's really exciting. I mean, we're seeing him running guys over on tape. We're seeing him do all this different stuff. So we kind of see it as a challenge. We wanna be the best, and we strive to be the best. So we want to play against the best.
Noah Gross, go ahead.
Hey, Anthony, I just want to follow up, but before you were talking about your love for video games and how that's kind of shaped your love for football, is that like, how does that happen to make you love playing the sport? Do you still play it? I just wanted to hear more about how that's kind of shaped you in a football sense.
I've been playing football since I was like 2 years old, and so just kind of playing Madden. When you've been playing football so young, you're gonna gravitate to the games you've been playing like you've been playing your whole life. So kind of when I'm seeing all these guys, I'm playing Madden because of course there was no NCAA, there was only one football game. So I'm playing with these guys. I'm like, who is this? Why can't he do this on the game? So I'm watching the on Sunday nights and seeing why he's doing this and how he got these stats, and I'm like, oh man, I mean, look at him do this and do that. So it kind of just correlates like that, and kind of helps me understand coverages at a young age. So I kind of understood like this is cover three, like I'm running this in the game, I'm running this in real life, and cover four and man. So it kind of correlates hand in hand for me.
Got time for the two last questions in queue. Max Zapata, go ahead.
Hey, Anthony, nice to meet you. I'm Max Beta of the Walter Cronkite Sports Network out in Phoenix. Obviously, you discussed how different it is going against a player like Scadaboo, but the SEC was kind of hyped coming into the season as a league with a lot of great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Sam Levitt has kind of been under the radar from a national standpoint when it comes to just his talent and what he brings to the table. What is your room and what is the defense as a whole seen on film, at least from the outset over these last couple of days? And how would his skill sets, or how do you feel like he ranks among the quarterbacks that you've played so far this season?
I wouldn't want to rank him. I feel like that's a little bit too much, but I'm seeing him throwing post routes. I'm seeing him making big plays on third down, pulling it, tucking and running. So I feel like he's an elite quarterback with sneaky speed. I mean, I'm seeing him do all this little stuff. So of course we're gonna have the game plan for him, and we're seeing him extending the plays when he's rolling out and throwing the screens late in the down. So we're gonna have to really execute it and be ready to play against that guy.
Last one, Cedric Golden, go ahead.
Hey, Ant. I know the jump from freshman to sophomore year is huge. Which one of your teammates, one or two, have taught you the most and helped you develop your game over these last couple of seasons?
I want to say just Jay Ford, Barron Surreal, Jahdae, them some of the guys that Murph and some of the guys that kind of help recruit me. I kind of always look for them for help and like especially Barron Sorrell. So I kind of look for him for help and little stuff like that. So I feel like he's one of the ones that kind of helped me get better throughout the season and throughout the years.
Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate the time.
No problem. Thank y'all.
Hey, AC, we had Coach Gutkowski on earlier, and he said in the back end, y'all started to move towards a little bit more middle of the field closed defense. I'm just wondering, I know that sometimes may be tough to see from your perspective, but how do you think that adjustment has helped y'all's defense this year?
Um, I feel like it gives us a little bit more time to get to the quarterback, and then allows our DBs to hold their receivers long enough. So I mean, I feel like it's like um, beneficial to both the front line and the back line guys.
Thomas Jones, you're up.
Alfred, happy holidays, Alfred. Michael Taaffe was saying after the game that he was glad Kate Klubnik and Clemson had a little success against y'all because you learned some lessons. What did you learn playing Clemson, and how's that going to help you moving forward?
Uh, what I learned against Clemson. I would say just you can't take anybody lightly, you know what I'm saying? Everybody we play is great and they deserve the attention they deserve. So yeah.
Danny Davis, go ahead.
Alfred, what have you seen from this Arizona State offense on film? And also these 4th-and-1 stops throughout the season, what do they do for a defense when y'all are able to stuff them like you did against Clemson and A&M?
What I've seen from their offense, their running back is a stud, man. Like, yeah, we were watching film, like, wow, okay. Quarterback, sneaky athlete. O-line's pretty solid. Receiver's pretty good. And what was the second question?
When you guys get these 4th-and-1 stops as you have throughout the season, especially in the Clemson and the A&M game, what does that do for a defense, just mentality wise?
That's a great mentality booster. Because we pride ourselves on not allowing people into our paint and in big situations like that. When we do that, it just feels good, builds confidence.
Brian Davis, go ahead.
AC, what's up, man? Now that the season is closer to the end than the beginning, I'm curious, what did you and Vernon talk about coming into this year? Because everybody talked about Sweat and T. Murph are gone, and it's up to these two guys. And how much pressure did y'all feel to step in and make it happen?
We used that as fuel because that's all we heard, and we knew me and Vernon are very high level defensive linemen, and the way we prepared throughout the entire year leading up to this moment, we felt ready, so it wasn't too much pressure.
Kirk Bowles, go ahead.
Yeah, Alfred, I was just curious about PK and his defense. Did you feel like he changed a lot in the years that you've been here at Texas, and how does he try to simplify the game for y'all?
That it really comes down to just locking in on the game plan and film. Because I mean, there's a lot of movement, and so just locking in during the game plan has really helped us throughout these years, I think.
Jeff Howe, go ahead.
Yeah, Alfred, when you look back to the early part of your career through all the weird stuff in 2020 with COVID stoppages and then coaching changes and everything else, how thankful are you, and what has it meant to you to be able to get that year back, to be able to have that this year to kind of end your career? Ideally, maybe the way you wanted, chasing a national championship.
It's honestly a blessing, man. Like I said in other media things, you got to go through things in life to boss up, so, and I feel like the journey that I went through was just what I needed, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think I answered your question.
Max Cepeda, go ahead.
Hey, Alfred, nice to meet you. I'm Max Cepeda with the Walter Cronkite Sports Network out in Phoenix. Obviously, there's been a lot of discussions that Arizona State, from an offensive standpoint, even with players like Scadaboo and Sam Levitt, haven't really seen a defense like the defense that you guys have brought in and week out. Can you just kind of explain, maybe to Arizona State fans who may not know the identity of this defense, can you just kind of explain in just a few short words or just a few sentences what what the identity of this defense is and what you're going to be bringing to an Arizona State offense that may not necessarily be experienced with a defense like this?
Turn on the tape. That's the few words I have. Turn on the tape and you will see.
Jeff Jones, go ahead.
AC Colin won that National Freshman of the Year award recently. That ball get off that he has, the first two or three steps, looks elite to me. How hard is it to get to that level? And is that God given, or is there some film study that he does to see the snap count? How is he so good at that?
I mean, he's very good at just. I mean, he's sometimes it's just natural. I feel like he just got that. He just got that eliteness in him. So, and just being here with these great coaches, they're just chiseling them up, and yeah.
Got one last one. Chip Brown, you're up.
Alfred, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Big Bill Norton on that goal line stand. What's it been like? You guys all seem like such a cast of characters, the interior defensive linemen. How's that bond developed through the year? What was your reaction when you saw that on film, when you all are watching it back, with Bill Norton and that mustache?
No, we're for sure a close knit group. We play for each other, and just looking at that just shows the grit and the want to not allow people in our paint, and it just feels good to see my brothers, making big plays.
What's up, Jahdae? Merry Christmas, bro.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
I just wanted to talk to you about Bam. So I was able to go out to a session earlier this week to just chop it up with him. And he mentioned how back in 2020, I used to have to travel all around Austin to find just a field to play on. And so just curious, what did that say about that group in 2020 that y'all had that much dedication to go to these different schools and work together within you, Makuba, and Taaffe? And then also, what did it mean to you to have Bam at your Jim Thorpe Award ceremony?
I mean, it meant everything to share the I mean, even the stage with Drew and Taff for that moment, and it meant everything for Bam back then to just push us, not even knowing that we were going to be at this point in life, but just to push us to want to see great things out of us. He played at a high level, and then to honestly just to build a brotherhood. He's a role model to me. He's a big brother to me, but he pushed me and Taff and Drew to a point that we thought we could never be pushed before. Just having us train every single day. So I think it allowed us to have a better bond. Obviously, me, Drew, and Taff, with us being on the same team now to back then too. So,
Joe Cook, go ahead.
Jahdae, PK talked about how y'all switched a little bit more to closed field coverages before this season. With you at corner, that means you get a lot of one-on-one opportunities. So when you see that it's just you and the man across from you, sometimes without any help, what are you thinking, and how do you help the defense by executing your assignment?
I wouldn't say, you don't have any help. I always say it is help, with the out of bounds, things like that. And then, just knowing where everybody's at on the field. If I have a linebacker kind of flexed out in the apex position, if the post is leaning towards me, just little things, just always playing on my leverage. But at the end of the day, it's mano y mano. So just playing my technique and just kind of understanding what routes I can get, what's the route tree, what way did he stem me, and just playing with good leverage. So I think that's on the standpoint, that's what I try to do.
Max Cepeda, go ahead.
Hey, Jahdae, nice to meet you. I'm Max Cepeda with the Walter Cronkite Sports Network out in Phoenix. Congratulations again on the Thorpe Award. I was just on a Zoom call with ASU players, and specifically with Xavier Alford, who is a former Longhorn and was first team All Big 12. He specifically name dropped you as someone who he's kept in contact with over these last couple of years as he's moved in the portal to USC and now has developed into a star at ASU. Can you just kind of discuss kind of the relationship that you two guys have together and how you guys have stayed in contact all these years and now getting the opportunity to play him in all likelihood in the college football playoff?
Oh yeah, that's my brother. We actually, I mean, throughout the whole season, we chat literally every week except this week, but no, we're always chatting. I'm always reaching out to him. He always reaching out to me and things like that. Just motivation to keep us going. He's been through so much. I've been through so much. We started here together as a brother, and that's always gonna be my brother. So I'm just proud of him and how far he's came. He's dealt with a lot of issues, just injuries and then having to sit out. So I'm just proud that he has the opportunity to showcase the gift that God gave him. So it's always good to see that out of him.
Kirk Bowles, go ahead.
Jahdae, I think you're the official president of the PK fan club. I was curious, you've always called him a genius. What do you think about his style, his attack, his approach to defense make him a genius?
I was actually, me and PK were chatting about something at practice on one of the plays he had called in the game. I'm not gonna give away the details and how he execute things, but I would say he's aggressive. He's so patient. He sometimes you see us moving around a little bit late, but he's just trying to make the right call to put us in the right position. So hats off to him just being so patient with the call and being confident in what he makes. I'm not. I've been in situations. Sometimes where you could try to rush to get the call and things like that, and then you get the call very fast, and then we're just kind of playing within the call. And I wouldn't say having us play like robots, but this year we're just most definitely just playing free. He allows us to play free with the call he makes, and he's always just putting us in position to win. I tell y'all all the time, if we don't make the play, that's our fault. That's not PK's fault. He's putting us in the right position. We just have to go out there and execute it.
Cedric Golden, go ahead.
Hey, Jahdae, you guys made a massive jump from 116 to 1 in pass defense, and you and Michael Taaffe have been pretty instrumental on that back end. What were your conversations like in the offseason after that Washington game leading into this, your final season?
Just things like that can't happen, especially me and Taft just growing up here, just seeing what it was like when we were little, seeing all the great DBs that came here and that created a history for us, and then it's our job to honor the ones that came before us and then leave a legacy for the ones after us. So just throughout the summer, we had to clean up details in our game, tools in our game, but also just on a group standpoint, just being better at communicating, just trusting one another. But that started off with our Culture Wednesdays, just trusting one another off the field, so we could trust each other on the field. So I think that would play a big factor. Just Culture Wednesdays, just allowing us to I know that my brother's going to be there, and he knows that I'm going to be in position. So I think that's what helped us.
Josh Newman, go ahead.
Hey, Jahdae. A lot's been made about this season in terms of how long this season will be, how many games it'll be for the teams that are playing all the way through to the end. You guys are about to play game 15. Does this season feel any longer than other seasons that you've played, whether it be physically, emotionally, whatever it may be?
I mean, honestly, my body's about the same to any other season. I mean, just not dealing with any injuries, so that's good. But other than that, like just the soreness, and I mean, it's about the same. You just have to stay in the treatment room, the normal things. But I wouldn't say it's more taxing. They gave us a good amount of bye weeks during the season, so I think that's what helped a lot, and especially that last bye week that helped a lot, just getting our bodies back and things like that.
Thomas Jones, go ahead.
Today, good afternoon. Hey,
Good
after
afternoon.
the Clemson game, Taff was talking about he was glad Klubnik and Clemson had some success against y'all because it forced you to learn some lessons. What lessons did you learn from that game against, especially a mobile quarterback?
Just you always have to be on your game. You can't be relaxed, I feel sometimes, we could get relaxed as a team or just we've been playing so high, you never be so high, never be too low. Just always stay ready to go and never let the moment get too big, and you always have to just execute, no matter the stage, no matter the game, no matter the play, and just give every respect. Give the play respect to each play that you're coming across.
Chip Brown, go ahead.
Hey, Jahdae, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Congrats on the Thorpe. You and Makuba and Taff have had such amazing communication this year. Who are the younger guys that you see, maybe stepping in next year and who might be able to try and recreate what y'all have got going?
I mean, you can't recreate three Austin legends, but they're going to be good. Jelani, he's for sure a guy that I see just taking the role of leading the back group. He's so smart, and he's learning behind Taaffe and Drew, so that's amazing for him, and just his athletic ability to move around, to be everywhere on the field. He still plays nickel and safety and things like that, so his flexibility, I know that's going to be amazing. And then I know Jiggy from Twin Three. He's going to be a good heck of a player for us too. He could play the nickel, he could play the safety and things like that. And then Kobe at the corner, more of the boundary with the length and stuff like that. And he's learning from Coach Joseph. So they're going to be a good group of guys. But I for sure see Lonnie just taking control and taking that leader role.
David Eckert, go ahead.
Hey, Jahdae, I appreciate the time. I want to go back to something you said earlier about PK's patience with the play calls. Can you just explain as best you can how that works logistically with the mic getting turned off at 15 seconds on the play clock? Do y'all have contingencies for changing it after that? How does that kind of work?
I mean, it's all based off on him, and then we have certain things where we could tweak it as players, and we could kind of do our own thing out there. But just him being patient and allowing, we're waiting for him to see what he sees, and then he's going to give it his best intake on what he sees, and it's going to allow us to just kind of play fast. But we kind of mix it up, and we could fix things out there, structure of the defense with Taaffe fixing things to Drew or me or the linebackers. So it all plays hand in hand.
Got time for two last ones. Danny Davis, go ahead.
Hey, Jahdae. Aside from the obvious with Scatterbo, what kind of stands out about this Arizona State team or their offense?
They're amazing. They have an amazing coach, and you could tell they play for one another. You could tell when you turn on the tape. When he runs the ball, you don't see teams receivers blocking down the field 40 yards all the time. That's not normal. So they play for one another, and you could tell they love him, and they love each other as a team, and they're playing physical. But as a back, he's so patient. He's patient in the backfield, and he trusts his line. When he sees something, when he sees a hole, he hits it, and he hits it downhill. He's not looking to juke. He has a jump cut, a good, amazing jump cut to him, but he's doing that jump cut to hit a hole and to get down the field. So it's going to be an amazing opportunity against him and his team.
Last one, Corey Most, go ahead.
Hey, Jahdae, I just want to go back to those 2020 sessions. What do you remember the most about that time with Bam and the guys? And also, how does that help correlate to the communication that y'all have today?
I think it honestly back then it helped us to start being leaders back then. We used to lead one another. We used to get on each other's ASS and things like that to push each other to get to the point where we are today. We messed up and make a mistake. Taaffe or Drew, they'll be getting on me. If I drop the ball, they'll make me do push-ups. So just things like that, it allowed us to get to this point now. And for me and Makuba and Taaffe to be leaders on the back end, and then for me and Taaffe to just be leaders on this team, I think it all started honestly back then. When we went through those sessions when it was just five of us just pushing each other to be great and pushing excellence out of one another. So I think that's what it helped with.
Appreciate you making a couple minutes here, Michael. Just wanted to ask you about the communication amongst the safeties. I'm just curious, and this may be off base. You can let me know if it's fair or foul. Is the communication any better between you guys? Because this year's rotation's primarily been three guys with yourself, Drew, and Jelani, as opposed to last year when the rotation was a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I think that three guys really rotating holds a lot of value. Not only do we kind of keep our legs fresh when, I got to run down on punt or punt return, or Jelani's running down on kickoff. And so we're doing more than just 8-play drives on defense. We're doing special teams, and we take that with a great deal of pride, knowing that special teams is make or break for a lot of games. And so, yeah, the rotation definitely helps. As far as communication with one another, I think the best thing about us three communicating with one another as far as the rotation is we all just love to watch each other succeed. When you see Andrew Makuba have an interception against Georgia week 6 or whatever that was. Jelani McDonald's jumping up and down on the sideline. When you see myself make that play last game or last play of the game against Clemson, you see Jelani McDonald jumping up and down. When you see Jelani McDonald make a interception against Florida, you see myself right there putting my hands in the air. So we're all just so just happy for one another when we make plays, and it could be a little toxic in some rooms that don't have the maturity, don't have the love for one another, to where you get subbed out. It's like, oh, why is he subbing me out? But we don't do that. We're all understanding. We all love one another, us three. So I think it's really cool.
Danny Davis, go ahead.
Hey, Michael. Cam Scadavo's stats kind of speak for himself, and he's obviously very confident in his abilities. But when you turn on the film, what do you see from him?
All around back. I think some people get loose sight and that he's just a hard nose, try to run you over type of back. And yes, he's very capable of doing that, but he's also got great patience, great contact balance, great contact courage, to where he's lowering his shoulder and maybe somebody's trying to go for his legs and he stumbles up and stays on his feet and go runs for 40 more yards. So the way that he can be so versatile as a running back, jump cutting, running people over, spin move, he's got the whole package. And then he leads the team in receptions as a passing threat too. So with number 0 being injured the last couple of games. So he's just a guy that can do it all. And clearly they call his name and he's ready to play every single Saturday. So I'm excited for that challenge.
Noah Gross, go ahead.
Hey, Michael, talking to you after the SEC championship, you just said, like, this Texas team is going to be so hungry. Now getting back there, just as a leader, what have you seen on that front as far as this group's ability to focus on the task at hand and be as hungry as you said everybody was going to be?
Yeah, well, I think the coolest thing about that is our team is so versatile. We go to the SEC championship and it's kind of a shootout as far as defenses. It didn't seem like a lot of people were getting in the paint, Georgia or ourselves, and we lose it at the end. But I would say a complacent defense would be like, all right, we're good, and we're not complacent at all. But it might have looked like that because we go to DKR, our last home game, and we're so ready to play. And Cade goes in there and does his thing and hits his receivers, and he puts the most yards that anybody's put on us this whole season. And so now not only is our offense so hungry because of what they did against Clemson, they're on a heater, but also our defense. We might have won the game, but we didn't play good enough. And so our whole team is hungry at the right time. And, I love that not only did we win, but we won and we're still learning from failure of, getting balls caught on us that usually doesn't happen. So we address those issues as a team, and we're moving forward with hunger in our heart and wanting to, come out and play the way we should.
Kirk, go ahead.
Michael, you've been around PK a long time now. Are there any pet phrases he has that you hear in your sleep? And what would you say his best quality is as the defensive coordinator?
Practice execution equals game reality. Says that one quite a lot. Kind of helps us practice like we should play every single week. So that's one of the ones that he loves to quote. PK, I think the type of guy he is, he's so calm to where he can get on our tails if we're not doing what we need to do. But if things are freaking out, if they just completed a 50-yard bomb and it's a 2-minute situation and we call a timeout and everybody's freaking out. Oh no, are they going to score and beat us? PK is the one that's not freaking out. He's the one that's calming everybody down. He's the leader that we need. And he's saying, all right, here we go. We're going to go this next call. Everybody just calm down, do your job, execute, and let's get off the field. Let's win this game. So I would say he's calm, composed, and he shows up in big games and calls the right calls and puts us in a great spot.
Cedric Golden, go ahead.
Hey, Mike. I know the thought is you go 1-0 every week, but not every year you're going to have this many All-Americans on one team, a Thorpe Award winner, a 3-year starter at quarterback. Is it one of those things where you guys actually talk about how this thing is set up for you to really win a national championship, or is it just something you don't talk about?
Yeah, no, you can't. The type of team that's rolling into Atlanta, and the Sun Devils, you can't think about anybody but them because, um, they earned our respect just cutting on the tape and seeing what they can do. Their coach is a really good coach. He's got their guys, in a really good culture spot. They play for one another. They block for one another. They run routes for one another. They run for one another. And so the type of team that they are, you can't look past them because all that looking past is all what if you don't take care of business on January 1st. So you can have some fun conversations. You can have some great conversations on Monday night, on Sunday night at the fire. But all that is no use if you don't take care of business in Atlanta.
Corey, go ahead.
What's up, Michael? Merry Christmas. I was able to see your boy Bam earlier this week. Went out to one of his sessions, and he told me a story back in 2020 when y'all be working out, and some of the guys may get calls from college coaches, and they would turn the camera around and point towards you and say, "Y'all need to come get Taaffe." What did it mean to you during that time to have those small group of guys believe in you before even coaches at the next level didn't?
Yeah, well, that's such a blessing to know that I got guys like that in my corner, and that kind of just shows me what type of guy I am. I don't love doing all the bling stuff, all the stuff for attention, because I can't. The people that are in my corner are the ones that I kind of care about, are the ones that I would jump in front of a train for because those guys have always been there for me, and vice versa. I've always been there for them, and so. It has definitely hardened me to know the things that I've been through as far as a football player, just getting told no over and over and over, and just understanding that the guys that believed in me, I'll never cherish those relationships. So no matter what happens in life, the guys that believed in me first, they always got a special place in my heart.
Gary Middleton, go ahead.
Michael, at the beginning of the week, we talked or asked Coach Sarkisian about only 2 penalties against Clemson in 10 yards. And what was it that changed for the preparation? How was that possible? Because you guys averaged more than that. And he said it was a result of a come to Jesus meeting. Now, I don't want to know anything about the come to Jesus meeting because we've all been a part of those. But how have you seen the preparation from a team, from the locker room, people level up so that we might not see any penalties or we'll see low penalties in the future?
Yeah, it's just your intent and your emphasis, right? So like penalties are going to happen. Defensive penalties are going to happen. Offensive penalties are going to happen. Special teams penalties are going to happen. This game is hard. It's hard. They're on scholarship too. They're getting NIL too. And so you're playing against some really good guys. If we're in the March Madness, you're in the Elite Eight. So you're playing against the top of the top. And that's going to happen. But how you work through the week can kind of allow you to not be in that position. Okay, if you are in that position, what are you going to do if he beats you, or what are you going to do if he's stacking your hip and you don't want to get a block in the back and you're on punt return or something like that? And so just knowing that if you're in that position, here, this is what we're going to do moving forward, because we can't have these, early penalties to where it hurts us on offense, or on defense, we can't get a 3rd and long and get a defensive holding at my position, or roughing the passer and they get an automatic first down. So we can't keep doing so well to where these penalties kind of bail teams out. And so that was the emphasis on the conversation.
Josh Newman, go ahead.
Hey, Michael. One factor of this 12-team playoff is that the season gets longer for the teams that are playing all the way to the end. You guys are about to play game 15 with potentially 16 and 17 coming behind it. My question is, does this season feel longer than previous seasons for you, whether that be physically, emotionally, whatever it may be?
Yeah, it definitely feels longer. I don't know what the other guys said, if they're more politically correct than I am, but it definitely feels longer as a point of we had 2 bye weeks, and we played the same time last year on January 1st. It might have been at night, but we played on January 1st last year, but we played 1 less game. So that in and of itself is telling of how brutal this season has been. But you don't do all this stuff to get complacent at the end or to stop doing your routine at the end, because then you look back and you're like, all right, I played that game, that game, that game. Oh, and that game. Oh, and then we added another game, and now we're here at January 1st, and we did all that for nothing. So whatever you do, put more into it now because there's only one champion. There's only one person that gets to stand with that trophy at the end of it. So you got to do more than anybody else.
Chip Brown, go ahead.
Hey, Michael, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Congrats on second team All-American with the Associated Press. Was there a conversation with you and Coach Gideon before the season? You know, you had 5 different guys starting at safety last year. Those guys peel off, 3 of them peeled off. Was there a conversation of him saying, hey, we're relying on you. We need you as part of that confidence growth that you've talked about this year?
No, it was actually the opposite. He said, I'm bringing in guys. I'm bringing in some really good talent. I'm bringing in some young guys that are really good. I'm moving Jelani McDonald to safety, and Derek Williams is getting a whole lot better. Oh, and then we're bringing one of your best friends, Andrew Makuba, in. So if you don't step up, then you're not going to be playing for us, and that's how Texas is. So take this under the chin and know that if you're not the leader that you should be, if you're not the player that you know you can be, that nobody else might see but yourself, then you're not going to see the field a lot. And so I took that and ran with it and was like, all right, so coach is giving me a chance. He's giving me an opportunity to roll out there with the ones come spring. And so there's going to be a lot of guys nipping at my spot. And if I don't play the way that I should, if I don't work the way that I should, if I don't practice and be the leader the way that I can be, the way that I should be, then it'll be a different result for me individually. So that was kind of how that conversation went.
Thomas Jones, go ahead.
Michael, good afternoon. After the Clemson game, you know, you said you were glad that Cade had some success against you because it forced you to, you know, reevaluate some things. You know, what lessons did you learn in this week, and how did you apply that in practice?
Yeah, well, like it's the whole thing that Coach Saban always says. When you play not a game up to your standard, but you still win, some immature players look at that as like, it's a win. We can't learn from it because we won. So let's just keep moving on. But this group that we have is so mature that Jahdae's on the phone with me at 10 p.m. after the game. He's like, dude, I just watched it. Like we need to get better. Like we need to start tomorrow as early as 8 a.m. and start getting better and going to the drawing board and going back to where we always have been the last 13 games, because that wasn't good enough. That wasn't our standard. And so that's kind of what the group is. We're mature enough to where, you know, maybe we didn't communicate as a back end as good as we usually do, to where they found a busted coverage here or there, and Cade was mature enough to find it and put the ball in the money and give his receiver a chance. So, you know, we're a mature group to where no matter if we win or lose, we're going to come back and we're going to get better.
David Eckert, go ahead.
Hey, Michael, appreciate the time today. Jahdae was talking about PK and I guess a willingness to be really patient, changing plays kind of late in the play clock. I'm curious. Obviously, I know you've only been in one place, but just from what you know about college football, how unique is that? And I guess to what extent do you think the experience y'all have on defense allows him to kind of do that?
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the biggest things in college football. Who can say that they've played with the DC for 4 years? Not a lot of people in this era where, you know, coaches are moving around, players are moving around, and so I think the trust with one another goes unsaid. And he knows that, you know, me, myself, Jahdae, Alfred Collins, Barron, we've been, and multiple guys, but we've been in this system so long that we know that we kind of know his tendencies. All right, if they catch us in this, we're going to roll to this. If they catch us in this, we might keep it on and see what they're going to bring at it for the next drive. All right, if they catch us in this, now we know that they're going to do that. So we get another change up. And so he has a lot of trust in us. We have a lot of trust in him, and that's kind of where it comes from.
Brian Davis, you're up.
Hey, Mike, what's up? I wanted to put your coaching hat on a little bit. The way you guys play aggressively this season in the back end, what would have happened or what kind of problems would it have caused if AC and Vernon and the defensive line didn't have as good a season as they did? If y'all couldn't stop the run, what problems would that have caused?
Would have left me with a whole lot more of one-on-one tackles from 18 yards deep, which is no fun if anybody played defensive back. So allowing them to, okay, let's just say they don't make the play. Let's just say that Alfred Collins doesn't take a triple team and still make the play like he's done before. What they do at the least thing they do is they make the ball carrier bounce to where I have time, to where I'm a good enough player. I believe in myself to where I can read, run, pass pretty well. Best in the nation is what I believe. And so I'm reading, run, pass. I'm coming downhill after I'm reading, run, pass, and he bubbles out. Now it makes a tackle way easier for myself. And so the least they're doing is making the ball carrier stop his feet. The things that they usually do is they're making the play on themselves. So you don't see a lot of one-on-ones with Alfred, with Vern, with Trey Moore, Barron, Colton Simmons, Ethan Burke. You just don't see a lot of one-on-ones because that's, they're playing so well that you got to double team those guys.
Joe Cook, go ahead.
Michael, PK was talking about how in between last season and this season, y'all switched to some closed field coverages. Obviously, I know that puts a lot more responsibility on you, but at the same time, if you look over and see number 7 and know that he may not be able to have much help, how much confidence do you still have that Jahdae is going to be able, even if left one-on-one, to make it a win for the Texas defense?
Yeah, well, that's like football 101. When you see close safety, let's take the one-on-one shot at least a couple of times a game, just to test, my guy versus your guy. We believe in our guy, and that's kind of what people think is you see press, you see one high, let's take the fade, and just worst case that happens, they get a PI. The best case that happens, they catch it and score a touchdown. But they've done that many, many times in the last 14 games, and it's gone well for the good guys most of the time. So, nobody's perfect, but it feels pretty good knowing that we got 2 guys out there that are really good football players, and it kind of lets me hone in on my details and my individual work more.
Max Cepeda, go ahead.
Hey, Michael. First time meeting you. It's a great honor to meet you. Max Cepeda with the Walter Cronkite Sports Network out in Phoenix. Just kind of a two-part question here. Firstly, obviously there was a lot of hype coming in that the SEC was going to be filled with a lot of great quarterbacks that you were going to have to go against, and you guys have done a great job at minimizing those plays. But in comparison with what you've seen on the film, what has Sam Levitt brought to the table, and what have you guys seen that is similar to the SEC quarterbacks that you guys have seen for much of this season? And then secondly, a whole lot of players, particularly on both sides of the ball, are former Longhorns at ASU. And can you just kind of talk about maybe the relationships that you have with them? Barron was talking about the relationship he has with Xavier and Alfred just a few minutes ago. Can you just kind of talk about the relationships you have with the former Longhorns that are now in Tempe?
Yeah, I didn't know Xavier just because he left before I got here, but heard he was a great guy. Heard that, who else is I was with Jake Smith. A couple of guys older than me loved him, was best friends with him, and I was excited to have that relationship. But I'm glad that he's doing well. He was super nice to me when I came in as a freshman, and he didn't have to. I was just a walk on. So Troy is a great guy. Zach Swanson, another guy that was younger than me, and so I try to help him out. But he was a great friend, and then Prince Dorba, another guy that has always been there for me, has always been supporting me and trying to, motivate me through my journey. So a bunch of those guys. Am I forgetting anybody else? I can't quite remember.
Clayton Smith may be the only one I can remember, but
yeah, I didn't ever cross ties with him, but all those guys, obviously they'll be extra fired up to play the Longhorns because anytime you leave a school and some people, it's always fun to play those guys. So they'll be fired up for sure, and I'm excited to play them. Now the first part of your question, I forget.
No, about Sam Levitt and just his skills as a quarterback and what you've seen on film, and how in comparison his skill set is to the quarterbacks that you've seen this season.
Yeah, for sure. Well, great question, because I think I see a lot of Marcel Reed in him, to where you can make the play on your own. You can give it out to your ball carrier and let him go make the play. You can give it out to your wide receiver who's 6'5" and let him go make a contested catch, or you can throw it in the slot. And so he can do whatever he wants with the ball, and you gotta take that with a grain of salt and come ready to play and know what his strengths are.
Got time for one last one. Corey, go ahead.
What's up, Taff? Just want to go back to those 2020 sessions during COVID with Bam. Like, what do you remember the most about that time? And then also, did it feel like a full circle moment whenever not only you and Makuba, but Bam was also there to celebrate Jahdae for that third board?
Yeah, it kind of shined light on a little bit of what we've done. Obviously, you give all the credit to Jahdae. That's his award. That's what he did with himself. I know he's going to be selfless, like type of player he is, and try to give it to more people than maybe deserve. But it's him first and foremost. But the 2020 sessions, and it ties back even more to 2020. But just all I remember is just hungry to prove myself right. I get a chance to maybe check in on Zoom school and maybe not pay attention and go work out a little bit more. So that's what I love to do. I try to hit the books as hard as I can, but I'm a football player, so we all know how that goes. But kind of just a great opportunity. Not a lot of people got blessed in COVID, and it was a hard time, but for us, we were lucky to get to do that and get to work with each other and get to compete with one another, and it was so fun.